Yeah.
So,
How's that going?
it's good. I haven't written a new blog in 3 weeks or something. But I've written probably over 20 pages.
Hmm.
I think I'm just procrastinating a bit because it's I guess I'm taking it as more of a big deal because it's a book and I want it to be perfect, and I'm just trying to get every word or sentence perfect and not being satisfied ever.
Okay. So, well, yeah, I guess it just takes gonna take longer, right? That's
Yeah,
what's gonna happen.
yeah. I think I need to just post them. It's been really helpful being such a perfectionist because I'm learning a bunch about grammar and
Yeah,
words and sentence structure, but it's a bit too excessive at this point.
let's see. Yeah. I don't want to write a book. It's gonna take too long. I don't like it.
Yeah, if you don't like writing, man, don't do it. The It's not worth the pain.
Yeah. I heard a lot about that. Tim Ferriss talks a lot about why should you ever go through this?
It feels great though, man. If you really enjoy it, has some really great times writing the past 4 months.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. It's different than poker. When I'm enjoying poker, it's a bit more of an adrenaline, hyper focus thing. Um, I guess the adrenaline thing is the biggest difference. But when writing, it's a lot more of a relaxed Zen feeling, just being pretty happy, thoughts flowing well, and not much adrenaline involved, you know?
Yeah, you just stay in the flow for longer, I guess, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's no bad beats either. So I'm sure you've been there where you're just in the flow and then you just get bad beat and it just ruins the whole thing.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
I know how that feels.
Nobody comes and like spills coffee on my computer or something while I'm writing.
Oh man, yeah, that's a huge advantage then.
Yeah.
Like, but I guess like you see results in like 2 years or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm doing the book chapter by chapter, and the site is just based on donations, so hopefully can just see results immediately. I get that immediate feedback, you know.
Yeah. So what's your take on that most bloggers say that you have to post very regularly?
Uh,
Like some of the best blogs I've ever read, they either post 3 times a week or something like that, or they post almost every day,
uh,
even if it's something small.
I don't know. I don't know have a good take. I just know that for me personally, I wouldn't sacrifice quality. You know, I'd rather have one really good blog than three just good ones or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about that, and I think if you are a thinker, which basically you are right now, right? You are a thinker. You're
I'm a
thinking all day.
thinker of thoughts.
Yeah, and so if you are thinking all day, why don't you just write down every single day, like a journal, your best idea of the day or your best thought of the day? I mean, even if it's something, like 2 sentences, it might be enough to change someone else's perception of something or help someone. And maybe you even thought that it's not that important, but for someone else, it's like
Yeah,
groundbreaking.
yeah. I posted this one quick blog about how poker is gambling for most people,
Hmm.
and it was probably one of my most popular blog posts. Although that's not that many people. It's like 60 people read it, but I got a lot of good feedback and a lot of shares and people saying thanks. And
Yeah.
it was just one paragraph. You know?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I had the same thing on Facebook where I had a time where I was posting basically, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 times a week, just posting something, even like relaxing music, rainforest sounds, and then some motivational stuff, videos that I saw on TED Talks. And very often I realized that the posts that I didn't even find very interesting, all of a sudden there were like 250 people taking a look at it, messaging me, contacting me, and I was like, wow, I wrote so many important things, you know? And like this post is
Yeah.
the most interesting. And
The, I think that's simplicity. That's what I think it is. I think people just crave that and just love that, basically.
love simplicity in general, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, I'm reading right now The Obstacle is the Way for the first time.
Let me know if that's good for problem solving, if I should read that.
Uh, well, it's basically Marcus Aurelius' books, like meditations,
Mm.
in a modern way. So I don't know if it's
Uh,
anything that you have not read. For example, meditations doesn't resonate with me at all. Like
the,
I tried to
the
read
part
it.
about why his dad was so good because he didn't molest his slaves. You can't relate to that.
No, I don't even know if I got that far. Like I was
This the
listening
start
to.
the start of the book, the
Yeah,
first
cool. Like
chapter.
I didn't understand a word. I just I read the book and then I got myself The Tao of Seneca
Yeah. So
by Tim Ferriss.
I should clarify for if we put this on record. In the first
Yeah.
chapter of that book, Meditations, Marcus Aurelius is going on about how his father's a great man, and I think one of the things he mentioned was how he didn't molest his slave boys or something.
Okay. No, no, gotcha. Yeah, I was confusing it with the Tao of Seneca.
Oh, okay.
And you know, like I was going through those books, maybe like I gave like 2 hours to each book, and I didn't understand a word. Like it just didn't get into me, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I need something else. And then everybody mentioned the obstacle is the way, and he's basically talking about the same stuff that Seneca mentions, and it's just amazing. And what was I? Why was I starting with that?
Probably
No,
simplicity.
yeah, exactly. And he always mentions how great thinkers make everything seem so simple. And
Yep.
I think you and me, we talked a lot about that in the past. Like whenever you watch like a great poker player play, it just looks so simple. Like everything he's doing, there's nothing really too complex.
Well, watch a Doug Polk video. Like I
Oh,
told you.
yeah, I do. I did a lot, and it just looks very
Well,
simple.
yeah, exactly. You're just like, I'm gonna bet 2x pot here on the turn.
Yeah, you're like, okay.
I want to get all the money in. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean it's so cool. Like in the Upslugs the way he says something very cool, where I don't know. There was like you know like a very famous person, and he had some kind of an appointment, and the other person he had the appointment with couldn't read and write, and so his assistant came to him, and he was like, "Look, this person cannot read or write. You know, you cannot give him like a template or anything." He's like, "Yeah, no problem." So he went to that person and said, "Look, you see this letter?" He said, "Yes. This is an A. And now you only have 25 more letters to go. That's it."
What does that mean? Oh,
Like,
just the other letters of the alphabet. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And because that guy can read or write, and that guy never tried
Yeah.
to read or write. And then he said, it's so simple. You just start with this. This is A. And then you just go from there. It's only 25 more. That's it. That's reading. Yeah.
Yeah. Teaching reading is hard, but back to, I think Doug Polk, I don't know if he's holding back on the stream or not. I'm sure he is to some extent, but I really feel like when he plays, he finds it pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, he says in in his channel that six max play is much different than heads up, and he would never stream heads up,
Hmm.
and especially heads up high stakes. He would never stream that. He said because his plays are so different.
Hmm.
But he said that six max is like the most simplest form of poker ever,
Yeah.
and he plays 10-20 on stream.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like he can hold back a lot of stuff because he would lose a lot of money.
Yeah. Simple is difficult, and I'm trying to make this book as simple as possible, but man, it's the hardest thing you could do.
Yeah, you're making things very complicated in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't just try and do things like I'm just not just be like, oh, I'm gonna write a book. No, I'm gonna write a book that's just the most simplest possible version the best while going like the deepest and having better content than every other book out there. Those are my goals in the book.
Have you tried to limit yourself to I don't know, let's say 150 words in your blogs or in your book? There has been this amazing blog post by this Dilbert guy about how to become a better writer. And in the podcast, I think he mentioned that that he wrote a book with 140 words, and it was a bestseller. Yeah, and it was just amazing. You know, it was like the most simplest things ever, and he touched on so many complicated things, and he just made them super simple.
Yeah, I think that would be a cool exercise. So probably because as a writer, you look for things to cut when you're editing, but there's tough decisions there. You have to let go of sentences you might think are important, but not really. So if you have like a word limit, you kind of just have to do it.
Yeah.
That's
And one thing that I find interesting about writing, I don't know how you feel about it, but I think Tim Ferriss mentioned it. But no, I don't know who it was. But basically, when you want to teach someone something or you want to explain someone something, you need to do it right after the second that you learned it yourself,
Yep.
because then you still understand the problem.
So I was talking to this guy. I was trying to. He's been wanting to edit my post for like 3 weeks. My luck with editor so far, or
Yeah.
just hasn't been going well. But we first started talking, and we're talking about my education. I tell him I dropped out 7th grade, but I have a GED. So he says, "Oh, so you're just researching stuff on your own?" And the comment just felt like everything wrong with the school system or the way people learn. Because you don't learn by researching, you learn by doing.
Yeah, you get the stuff you should do and you just do it, right? Instead of research.
Yeah, the biggest
Yeah.
benefit of not going to school is I never worried about memorizing stuff. If I learned something, I learned it so I could actually do it.
Yeah.
And I think that actually builds memory better. But most people don't view it like that. They just read books, they want to load up on knowledge, more information, and then not do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, th- a lot of the greatest minds, they all said creativity over knowledge, right? Like, for example, Edison is like a great example.
What do
He's
you think of the word creativity? Because I kind of don't like it.
Why do you not like it?
I don't know if it really explains what actually happens.
Okay, now I'm confused enough to ask you, like, what would be a different word or like a better word?
I think if you are constantly trying new things, or trying the same thing, tweaking it, seeing what works, what doesn't, and you do that long enough, and you do that objectively, and you pay attention, that you'll eventually come up with a creative solution. And I don't think creativity is this special mindset necessarily, where just some people have it, some don't. Did I explain it well enough?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Okay, so I guess everything that's not creative is whenever you take the just given facts or facts that you assume are facts, and you just proceed the already known way, right? And everything else is just somewhat creative.
Yeah, you're never, like, when you're never adjusting, right? If you just played poker, you loaded up tables, you played the same way every day.
Exactly. Like you never adjust, and even if you study after you play poker, you just you just look for your given winning way, whatever, but you never really adjust. Correct. So why is creativity not the right word then?
I think it's just looking at the results of your actions and then figuring out a good tweak for it.
Hmm. I don't even know if this is important.
I just hate the word creativity because it's one of those words like creativity, intelligence. It's those words that make people feel. Uh, is unempowered a word? Like,
Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean, especially intelligence. I
yeah.
agree with.
Yeah, it makes people feel like, oh, I'm not creative, so I can't do it. When
Yeah.
creativity is really just a process rather than a mythical skill.
Okay, yeah,
Intelligence,
I get your point, but I think, with intelligence, it totally applies because intelligence, no one really knows what that is. But creativity, if you just say, okay, everything that's, outside of the box thinking or outside of the norm is just being creative, I think that's a pretty positive thing. I mean, I don't know.
yeah, it's one of my early thoughts. I definitely know I hate intelligence, but I'm starting to feel the same way about creativity, and I just threw
Yeah.
it out there to get your thoughts.
Yeah, like intelligence is terrible. I think a lot of people underestimate how stupid of a word that is. Um,
I'm gonna write a blog about it. Jamie was telling me, speaking of intelligence, so Gary Kasparov, I'm sure you know who he is.
yes. I mean, I
He
heard the name.
he retired from chess for 10 years. He was running
Correct.
for office.
Hmm.
He just came back and beat the best blitz player in the world, like 3.5 games to 2.5.
Oh shit. Okay.
After 10 years of not playing,
Okay. Wow.
Nakamura studies his ass off, is obviously super talented, has been working on the game his whole life, and this guy just comes back after 10 years and beats him.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like, whatever that is, whatever makes Kasparov do that is just intelligence. It's just an advantage you can't overcome. It,
I think one thing that I really appreciate about the books that I started to read since I met you is that um, learning principles and concepts, makes you intelligent. So even if you're not like super intelligent, you don't know everything, right?
mm,
If you do know, however, how to like what concepts work in whatever area that you work on or live in or whatever, then you're just gonna always be doing a lot better than everybody else. If it's like, for example, like how EV works in general in poker,
that's
doesn't really
ex-
matter,
that's
huh?
exactly what I was gonna mention too. I was gonna interrupt you with about EV, but go ahead.
Yeah,
It's
like
just
just
funny
in
we had the
general how
same
it works.
thought.
It
Yeah,
doesn't really matter if you know 100% how to play every single situation, as long as you do understand like how EV works from whatever street. You're just always going to figure out a way, how to deal with the situation. So, and a lot of people underestimate concepts and just go with wisdom or knowledge or whatever you want to go.
what's great about the EV concept is that it applies to everything. So
Hmm.
if you learn that mindset of EV, that everything's just about risk versus rewards, outcomes that can happen, you can apply that to anything.
Yeah.
And if you practice that skill in poker over and over, it just becomes automatic in whatever you do.
Yeah, man. One thing that comes to mind: Tony Robbins said something very cool about in his book Money about like the biggest investors in the world, and he got asked like, what is like the major thing that really struck out when you talk to these guys, and he said, okay, the major thing is they invest $1 to win five. So they just look. That's the only thing they do. They all day long, all their life, they just look for a way to win five times when you invest one. That's all they do, and it's so right. Like it's so simple. You don't do anything else besides observing the market or whatever area you're in for things that make you 5 times more than you invest. That's it. And you wait until you get that.
That sounds like a pretty good principle.
Yeah, and for everything in life, right? It's not only for investing. Like whatever you invest in, you can even say love. Like you invest a lot of thoughts in how to make someone happy and get a multiplied amount of love back, if you can call it that. I don't know, but I guess you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think I get it. I'm thinking. Yeah, you don't mean though that these guys make 5x on, like, they don't average a return of 500%, but
No,
pretty.
they just look for things
Yeah.
that make them a lot more money than. For example, one very good example is that he mentions that a lot of people invest one and get like 1.08 back, right? And he's just like, these guys don't look for that because then you cannot be wrong. And they all know that they're going to be wrong a couple of times.
Yeah.
And if you get 5 times more, you can be wrong 4 times and still break even.
Right, right.
That's all they do, and it makes a lot of sense. And man, that applies to so many different things.
I've been thinking about problem solving, finding. It's a bit like 5xing your results, but it's doing one action that covers a lot of things or improves a lot of things. So it's like the old adage, kill two birds with one stone. But I think really great strategies kill lots of birds with one stone.
Absolutely, yeah.
So here's an example. Uh, my wife and I go to the gym every time together. And I think that kills multiple birds with one stone. I think what's interesting about it is obviously we're hanging out together and then working out, but also our workouts become better as a result whenever you work out with someone. You can't,
Why?
you just can't be lazy and then
Oh, okay,
quit.
okay. You push yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you push yourself more, you do more.
yeah.
You enjoy going to the gym more when it's with other people, so you're more likely to go. So
Mm.
it's increasing the quality and the amount of times that I go. But it's also like strengthening, like anything you could do with someone else strengthens the relationship. So if me and you go out and have a good experience, or me and you talk and have a good time, that builds on every single time we meet. Like those things build on each other. Good experiences build great friendships or marriages or
Yeah.
girlfriends, boyfriends. So you're also laying this foundation, and it affects all your future days. And going to the gym is the same thing. If you go to the gym, have quality workouts, that has a long lasting effect for lots of days. Whereas there are some actions you take that don't have long lasting effects. So whenever I play chess by myself with like some random person, I'm not improving the quality of anything. This doesn't give me any long lasting effects except getting better at a game, one specific game, and I'm not connecting with anyone. This doesn't improve my anything, you know?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of these solitary actions, and there's these negative ones. So if me and you hang out and we have a negative experience, that decreases the quality of a lot of things in a lot of areas.
For sure. Yeah. So you have to be very aware of the situation
Yeah.
and emotions and what's exactly happening at that moment. Totally agree.
I'm trying to find a way to word this in a blog or something. Like, is it fair to call it like a compounding effect, a butterfly effect? What would you call that?
Yeah, compounding effect makes a lot of sense. I think I don't really resonate a lot with butterfly effect.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess finding solutions that have compound effects is something that I only been thinking about lately, but I think it's really valuable.
Yeah, totally agree.
How do you do that? How do you choose someone to do that? I don't know. Maybe just giving them that mindset.
I mean, what I learned is that I find human interactions very, very complicated when when emotions kick in. Like everything that's without any emotion is super simple. Like everything. I don't know. Go to the car dealer and get a better price. Deal with difficult people that you don't care about. It's just so simple, and like everything is simple. But as long like when once emotions kick in, or it's like I don't know, your family, your best friends, or oh, I found that so tough because that compounding thing totally resonates with me. Totally.
Yeah, when you're having, like, when you're in a bad relationship, it's hard to get everything else going pretty well.
Yeah, like one thing that a lot of people underestimate, I think, is, I bet you have those people too that just complain about, oh, I went to this, and then I had a problem with my car. I went to this thing that wanted to fix it, but it didn't really do it the right way. And I yelled at him, or he yelled at me, or whatever, situation escalated. And, the people are just complaining. And
I was in periods like that for a lot, for like 2013, 2014, especially, if you remember.
okay,
Pretty,
yeah, so look, if like once you understand how to deal with those situations, right?
mm,
And how simple it is, how easy every single person that you are not emotionally connected to is. And then you get to a situation where you talk to a person where you're emotionally connected, and you realize how tough that is.
yes.
You have big problems to to really switch from one to the other, and really you have all those thoughts in mind, like, why is this so complicated? I don't know if I explained that well, but a lot of people think it's the other way around, right? People that I do not have in my family, that are not my friends, that I'm not emotionally connected, they are tough to deal with, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't give a shit about me. But it's not true. It's the other way around. Other people that you don't care about,
Can you give me
like,
an example of a person you care about and it being difficult without
no,
being too personal?
yeah, it's just a comparison, not like the person itself.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I don't know. Let's just say you have an argument uh with a friend, and he's right, he's wrong.
Yeah.
He's 100% sure he's right. And if you would prove that
This
he is
this
wrong,
this is every argument ever. But go ahead.
yeah, no, wait, no. So if you prove to your friend that he is wrong, um, you would offend him,
Yeah.
okay? And he would feel offended, and it would just be very bad for your friendship. And if you don't prove him wrong, nothing would ever change in a bad way. Okay, so
Nothing would
you
ever
don't.
change in a good way, you mean?
No, not in a bad way, and not in a good way. Just be neutral. Like, okay, so I'm wrong. You
Oh,
just say,
okay. Yeah.
okay, so I'm wrong. Like, who cares? And nothing would change. He's happy, whatever. Um, so when you talk to someone that you don't care about, you can just prove him wrong if you want, or you can just go to the next person, and it's easy.
Yeah.
You don't care. And that's what a lot of people misunderstand. They're like, "Oh, that idiot, he treated me wrong, but I didn't know if I should prove him wrong." Like, whatever, man. Just do it or don't. Doesn't make a difference in the world.
Maybe the solution is, as your filter when getting friends, just be as upfront as possible. So that way, you won't ever have that problem in the future with them. They just expect it.
Yeah, I mean, for example, you and me, whenever something is shit, I just tell you, like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Uh, Something's like very good, I just tell you, like, I love it. It's just the best thing I've ever read, or
Yeah.
whatever. I just always tell you, and it's fine, and I wouldn't do it any other way. And the thing is, you you just can't with every single person that you really, really like. Just can't. Just as simple as that.
Maybe you can.
No, I don't think so. A lot of people are like, a lot of people in the world are just not emotionally, what do you say that? Like as stable as you know, as strong
Hmm.
as you. It's just the way people are. It's not a bad thing. You know, it's actually a good thing, I think, because a lot of people are just more emotional than I am.
Yeah.
But you know, that's you just have to realize that it's going on that moment, and just have to be okay, cool. You know, I just not gonna prove you wrong. You're just gonna stay with your opinion,
All right.
whatever.
Problem solving technique. There's
Yeah.
always more than two solutions. So in this situation, you gave two solutions. One was don't say anything. Two was say something. And I don't think any real life situation is binary like that.
No, I mean you could lead that person to understand the solution herself or himself.
Exactly, Pedro.
I know, and I didn't mention that because it would get very complicated, and I wanted to keep it like very simple.
For sure. That's something it took me a while to learn.
Oh, one last question. Sorry, one last question. That you are the perfect person to ask. When you try to show that person how to figure it out for him or herself, right? And that person in that moment looks at you and it's like, I know what you're doing, Daryl. You're trying to teach me. How do you react to that?
Um, I don't get into these situations much. If they are, they're with my wife, and we're used to just being upfront and all that. And then if it's with a student who I'm teaching, they already feel like, oh, he's my coach. I'm paying him. I'm gonna listen to him. You know.
Yeah, so what if a good friend, was in that situation and you really care
I don't
and
have
he
any.
feels strict,
I don't
basically?
have any good friends that I spend time with who would really care.
Okay.
Like, I'm trying to think. So I have about five or so good friends, and none of them would care. And I think all of them would welcome it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, then just ignore what I said.
maybe you do better at your friend selection. I mean, that's a harsh thing to say because I know there's this emotional attachment, but maybe you shouldn't be close to people who can't take just some honest help or criticism from a friend.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
I mean, all the times you've been critical of me in the past 3 years have always been helpful.
Cool.
I think I could say, I don't know if I'm critical of you, but if I have, I don't feel like it's hurt anything.
No, it doesn't hurt me. Basically, I just bitch around of losing all the time, and you're just like, I don't want to hear it. So it's cool. So that's exactly what I need to hear. And
Yeah,
also, I think I should switch off my Skype when I'm grinding. I think.
that's hard to do. I've tried.
Yeah.
Did I,
It,
So I actually wanted to backtrack. So we were talking about the book and how I'm publishing chapter by chapter.
mhm.
So I was curious, what do you think about this idea? And hold on, I'm gonna have to move downstairs. Okay, so the idea for the blog book was based on, I looked at the idea of, making a real book, if you want to call it that, and having to finish the book, and then once it's completely finished, you have to get an agent, then get a publisher, have someone publish it, and then all the marketing afterwards.
Yeah.
And personally, that just felt like too big of a step. And I think in my life, I face a lot of situations like that. Normally, I just bang my head against the wall and complain, which you've heard me do many times.
Yeah.
But instead, I found a solution that moves me towards that goal, but eliminates the things that make it very hard. So when I'm posting the blog book, chapter by chapter, one, I don't have to wait for completion and in perfect order. Two, I don't have to hire an agent. Three, I don't have to hire a publisher. Four, the marketing isn't done all in one batch, and I have and just learn from scratch, right from jump. I do marketing in a piecemeal fashion, and I learn as I go. So I kind of removed a lot of the difficulties. What do you think of that? And I think, last part, I think it moves me closer to the goal of getting a book published. Let's say I do this for a year, and this blog book for a year, and it's successful. I think that
Yeah.
makes it more likely that I'm gonna have a book published and all that.
How do you get the people to go on your blog?
Naked pictures of myself. I've been doing a lot of research and focus groups. A lot of people are into that. So,
Okay.
uh, make great content and market effectively. Have a cool looking site.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the biggest thing is to get people on your site somehow.
Yeah.
And for example, I do think that I read this somewhere in a marketing book or whatever it was, that the first impression is like super important. It's just the most important thing ever. And for example, when I went to this site that I sent you yesterday, Wait But Why, the first the first page just leads you to so many interesting things, and it just
Hold on.
filled.
Let me click this so I see what's going on.
Yes, so there are a lot of links. Everything is very playful. Um, I mean, it just totally depends on who you're targeting, of course, the way it looks. But I think, for example, like the one thing that I'm missing on your site, and I think a lot of people will miss, like, what should they click? What should they do? Like, okay, there is blog, there is articles, there is this and that, but there's like nothing that says, for example, I don't know, creativity. And then, oh, creativity, I'm interested in creativity. Focus, oh, focus.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
those catchwords.
Right.
There's article. Oh, I want to read an article. No,
It's
I
very vague. Yeah. Oh, I want to read an article. Yeah.
don't.
Nobody ever says that. It's funny.
Yeah, yeah. What did you do today? Man, I read like 20 articles, dude. Like, and so what I'm trying to say is that I think like the way your website looks, but I already told you that before in a different way, it's just really not optimal. And
I'm
and
having
yeah.
some guy very slowly fix the site. So,
And wait, but what I was saying at the beginning, and this relates to all that. Like your first impression is the most important, and the people that get to your site the first, like the people that entered your site last month, are more important than the ones that entered this month. And I totally agree with that for a couple of things. The one is compounded, not compounded interest, but you know what I mean. Yeah, you have one person, then you have three, then you have seven, then you have 20, and so on. And it also goes the other way around. Hey, have you seen that Daryl J site? Yeah, it sucks. Oh, okay. So I don't need to read it. Nah, the article's okay, but the site that nah. And then he talks to the next person. Hey, have you seen that Daryl J site? Yeah, it sucks. A friend of mine told me that it sucks. The other way around, of course. Oh, it looks pretty cool. There's not that much content on there.
I love the naked pics.
Exactly. you know and it's super important, and that's why I think you should fix that first. Like, that's the most important thing. Like, what are you doing that marketing for what? When
That's exactly what this guy said. He said your site, basically in a very nice way, he said your site looks like shit, and you
yeah,
shouldn't market before you're ready because you're not
absolutely.
getting a good ROI.
Yeah, like have like three, four, five really good articles, the ones that you favorize the most, and then say, okay, the site has to look very interesting first. Like those pictures you have, I told you, they're amazing. But they're just not on your site when I get there the first time.
You need to see like all four of them right away, right? That would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
cool.
you need to see something, or I don't know, some catchy name, or but not articles, blog.
Yeah, videos. Right. That's a good point. I'm gonna fix that somehow. Right. That's a very good point. I like the idea of. I would like it if when you open my blog, you see a link to four different blogs with, pretty cool pictures on them.
Yeah.
I would like some special link that's and a special section that's just my blog book as well, and be advertised as like new book on problem solving. I think that's something where, oh, I'm interested in problem solving. I like books. He's calling it a book and not a blog post. So I'm gonna click that.
I think book is not something I would put on because the average person does not really want to read a whole book on something. But if the article you're writing about whatever topic is really good, he probably wants more. You know, it's like a dish that you get before the whole meal.
What if I didn't have a separate page for it and I would just term all of these, blog book chapter one, problem solving fundamentals, blog book chapter two, problem solving intermediate, and then just had like 100 of those. Eventually I'd have chapter 200. You know,
On on the first page or what?
on the blog page. Yeah,
Oh, on the blog itself. Yeah, sure. You know, I don't even think you should think about that. I think you should think about the first page first.
I don't
And
have
then,
a. I changed my first page. I got rid of it because I thought it was ugly and not
yeah,
used.
it was.
So yeah, if you go to my website, it's straight to my blog, and you would see a picture and an article or a blog post right away. I believe.
Wait, let me check that. So Daryl, why do I have now? I have this Daryl other guy.
the the Daryl Johnson guy, the swag picture
Yeah.
guy.
Damn. What's your site again?
Jace
What?
Poker. Man, my
Oh
friends don't
yeah.
even know my site. This is bad
Yeah,
news.
because now no, it doesn't work. What? Wait, it doesn't work. I'm doing this wrong. Okay, yeah, now I got it. Yeah, because I had three sites on here. Oh, okay, so it gets you to an article right away.
Right. Which I think is better. I think I should have a better banner. Perhaps you could see the whole picture. I don't know. I could do better, obviously. And I would love some links on the sidebar. This guy's going to create me a whole new WordPress website.
Cool.
And I told him I wanted links like Tim Ferriss has on the side, which I think are great. Problem is, I don't have that much content. I have like 15, 20 blogs, so it's not like brainpickings.org where you could just probably just I click on I get 10 tabs when I read one brainpickings.org article. You know.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter. Seriously. If the article or the stuff that you write are just really good, it doesn't matter.
I
Seriously.
well, I figured you want people on your site as long as possible, so sometimes I go on brain pickings and I'm on there for an hour straight. And but
Correct. But it started with one, two, three, four posts, and it went to seven, eight, nine, and after 10 years, they have a million posts.
right. Yeah, I'm just building up.
Yeah. So who cares? You know, it's like there was one guy that I read his site, and it was interesting. Like there was not a lot on there, but it was just amazingly well written, like, well thought out. You know, and well written also. And I just spent a lot of time there, and I learned a lot. And he had like maybe 6 or 7 articles, but every single one of them was just amazing. And I got back to it after like, I don't know, 3, 4 years. And he was one of like the best bloggers in the world. But I don't remember what this guy's name was. It was like maybe 3 years ago. I forgot, but whatever it was, it just grows,
Yeah, that's
whatever.
the plan. I think I should write more short stuff, like random ideas, or thought out things, and put it on there. Also, I have about over 100 pages written in journals and stuff that I haven't fully utilized at all. So I probably have 200 pages of stuff that just isn't being utilized.
Yeah, I guess that's gonna be even more in the future. It's just normal. But I have one question. Why do you think you have to do shorter stuff?
Uh, I don't think I have to, but sometimes there's just things that are really short, like my poker is
Okay.
gambling idea. And
Okay.
I thought it
Yeah.
was important and good. And I think I get in this trap sometimes of wanting to make really long posts and make them intricate and deep and stuff when a short one would do better. When a short
Yeah.
one could be the best option.
Okay. I mean, if you feel that way, then it's fine. I was just hoping that you didn't say, yeah, I think just people like to read that. Like, it sucks.
Uh,
A post has to be as long as a post has to be,
uh,
basically.
yeah, if you give yourself the option to make it really short, I think it opens up more creativity, even though I don't like that word, but it's kind of like Dilbert said.
Yeah.
So I have this. Alright, so this ties into why I have 200 pages of stuff that isn't being utilized. And a lot of writers or people, I even talked to one guy who says, "No, you can't write in a journal. That's stupid. You can't write your book like that because it needs to be online and backed up." And I realized this was the optimal way. And I'm sort of paying the price here, but I feel like we should always play the long game.
Yeah.
And I felt like I'm just starting out writing. If I'm playing the long game, the main thing I should do is just try to enjoy this as much as possible.
Yeah, I do agree. Like whatever way works for you is the best way. Like I think
Not in the short term. Like, in the short term, I think I'm getting fucked here, but I'm more likely to do this for 5 years or 10 years or
correct.
15 years. And I think that's where a lot of the value comes in. But everyone looks at the short term results and not the long term compounding. It's like we talked about when you go to the gym and you work out, that has a long term compounding effect. But still, people are like, oh fuck, I don't have time to go to the gym today. When I enjoy my writing and do it in a way that is aligned with my interest, I increasing the chance that I do it more often. When I do it in the future,
Hmm.
when I do it in a way I don't enjoy, I'm decreasing those chances of doing it in the future.
Yeah, I don't have enough experience to say anything about that, but yeah, I guess both ways makes some sense.
Well, I think anything you do is like any decision you're making. Whenever you're playing the short game, short term, I feel like you're losing.
Mm. No, I don't. I don't agree with that. One very big example would be, for example, to work. When you do a job that gives you only short-term benefits, but then it would, make it. How do you say that? It would enable you to get on like a different job that is going to lead to the long term.
Doesn't that count as playing the long game?
Well, but that job itself doesn't help you.
In the short term,
It's
but it helps you in the long term.
No, it doesn't help you in the long term. It does help you in the short. For example, if you clean toilets,
Mm-hmm.
okay, just until you have enough money to, I don't know, be a real estate investor or whatever. The job itself, doesn't really benefit the real estate investing.
Well, it does because if you didn't have the job, you wouldn't have time to study real estate investing. You wouldn't have time to,
So what would
when
be an example of
uh,
short-term stuff that's really not helping you that you do?
um, I think, I think, anytime you cheat, it is a short-term investment, unless the game is rigged. I think anytime you cheat, if you have a policy of continually cheating, in the long term, that's just a strategy just gonna blow up in your face. The same way it would if you had a 100K bankroll and you constantly played 10K tournaments.
Yeah.
Unless the game is rigged. If you're on Wall Street, you can you can you can cheat, get caught cheating, and just pay a fine. But the fine is like you made $2 cheating, and you pay $1 back in a fine because you got caught. You know,
Yeah, that makes sense.
there's no jail time. There's nothing happens.
Yeah. That's funny.
I guess poker is a game like that. Like you get caught cheating for the most part, and nothing kind of happens.
Yeah. Do you think that poker is a long-term thing?
I think people have done it long term, but I don't view it as like. Correct me. Let me know if you disagree, but I feel like if I had to, I feel like a much better game is Wall Street or investing or real estate than poker. Just in terms of potential profit and how long you could possibly play.
I think what's happening is completely different because the marketing and the protecting of the best in the world in real estate, on Wall Street is just a lot better
Mm-hmm.
than the marketing and all that stuff that's going on in poker. Because you could do it in a very similar way, but it's just not happening. It's just not. Like what Wall Street is doing, their marketing is just amazing. If you really think of it, all the stuff they talk about is just bullshit, and no one really gives away any real information on how to beat the game.
I don't think
Really?
I ever heard someone say invest in index funds until like a year or so ago on TV.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And also like it's the biggest fund in the world. The biggest fund in the world is an index fund.
Yeah.
It's amazing. People just like no one is marketing that stuff. And in poker, no, let me say this. They're marketing stuff, but not the stuff that you need to know. And everybody falls for it.
Yeah.
And in poker, what's happening, there are all these training sites and all this coaching going on, and everybody teaches everybody how to beat themselves. I don't know why. And, and that's what's going on. And in that, just imagine Wall Street and George Soros would just teach everybody how to win money in the field that he is investing in.
Yeah.
That would never happen.
Can you watch people invest on a day-to-day basis the same way you watch a poker player?
Yes, but you're not going to learn anything because you don't know why he chose that situation.
Yeah. And it's pretty real time, right?
Yeah, it's real time. You can watch it the moment he's doing it, but you don't know like the 6 hours he invested last night on, which point to invest in that stock that he sees in that moment. You just don't know that. You just see that he's doing it.
It's
But the
just,
6 hours, this is what I need to know.
yeah, it's the same with poker, I think. Like if you get a beginner watching Doug Polk play, I don't think he's gonna really get it.
Oh yeah, I mean, they're like the best of the best are. I just totally agree with you. But the thing is, when you watch those guys and run it once, you just watch four different guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're smart, you can be like, okay, what are these four guys doing that's all the same? What are the same things that I see in all four guys? This is what I did, and I just realize, wow, these guys are doing certain patterns the same way. And with
Or
invest,
or you could just go out, all right, I'm going to try this and see if this works for a while, and then try what this guy talked about and see if it works. And
yeah, but that would work also in investing.
yeah.
So it's not a difference. But in investing, it's something completely different because every single stock has different volatility. Then you can invest in a million different products. For example, they're releasing new products every month, it feels. For, like, I don't know, investing in options is just old school. No one invests in options anymore. And in 5 years ago, it was like the most volatile thing you could do. Now it's boring. And
Huh.
in poker, it's like this. It's so slow in general.
Huh. So I have another example of short-term thinking.
Sure.
So anytime I'm in a negotiation and I'm thinking short-term, or like maybe that's not a good example, but I feel like if you're in a negotiation and you're like thinking short-term and you really need you really need the negotiation to go your way, or you really need to make the deal, then you kind of lose. Is that is that even like the same thing?
Man, it's a tricky topic. I think that a lot of short-term stuff makes a lot of
Hold
sense
on one
in that.
second, Pedro. What's up?
How long do you do?
Hey, go ahead.
Uh, yeah. What was I saying?
You're saying there's short-term things that you think are
Okay,
good.
yeah. So, for example, um, short-term benefit can be huge if you take it in specific moments. Like one very good example about poker, but I have also one for like negotiation. But one example about poker is when you play the 10K main event because you want a $3 seat, and stalling makes you an extra 20K,
Yeah.
and you have a bankroll of $1,000. Who gives a damn about making in the long run making 50K more when you're just never gonna play the long run at all? It's just never gonna happen because the chance of you playing another 10K is like one in a million. Okay, this is just a poker example, but a negotiation example would be roughly the same thing. For one deal that I had was I had the option to buy three apartments. Um, no, I had the option to buy one big apartment or three small apartments that were in a pretty shitty area. Okay, but it was pretty easy to rent them out. It was really easy because there are a lot of people in that area that have work, have jobs, and it was good to rent. So I thought, okay, I can buy those three, have almost no risk. I don't have a very good long-term reward because I cannot really sell them in the future. But what I can do, I get immediately money, cash flow, where I can buy other stuff. In very near future, because I
Yeah.
have the money immediately.
Yeah. So I guess I didn't explain short-term thinking well enough. I definitely didn't. All right. So let me try and think of a definition. So, um, okay. So here's one example. An example of short-term thinking, in my opinion, is trying to play. You want to make as much money as possible, so you play poker 7 days a week, and you just try and keep up with that as long as possible.
Mhm.
I view that as short-term thinking because you're not thinking about, well, what are the long, is this sustainable? Can I do this long term? Is this even gonna work? And for 2 weeks or a month, you know, it's I think it's a pretty terrible strategy for the vast majority of people. Does that make sense? Would you agree with that?
No.
No.
No, it just totally depends on why you do it, and even if you say I just do it for 3 weeks or I just do it for 5 weeks, that's fine. If you feel that it makes you happy, it's still not short-term thinking. It just makes you happy.
Yeah, if you do it. So I played 7 days a week as a kid, and it was the simplest thing. My life was wake up, eat, poker for 10 hours, sleep. Wake up, eat, poker for 10 hours, sleep. But
Wait,
those.
can you repeat that? And I close my eyes and just be happy and listening to you.
But yeah,
It
that
sounds
was.
amazing.
Yeah, it was so simple. I loved my life. It was the early part of the game for me. So those are always like the funnest parts, kind of.
Yeah.
So I think we were talking about it yesterday. I told you the best years of my career were
Yeah.
2013, 14, and then early years. That was my life.
But have you been happy when you were 15, 16, grinding 7 days?
Yeah, it was totally fine. But I didn't do it, I didn't do it because I needed the money or trying to catch up or whatever. It's just that's what I did. I love poker. I wanted to play poker. I don't have anything else to do either.
Yeah, good times.
But if you're playing 7 days a week, not because you want to, but because you think this is the best way to make money and you got to put in the max amount of value, I think that's ignoring important long term factors.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe my idea isn't as well refined as I think it is.
I think you're viewing the whole situation from your perspective, which is just wrong.
Um,
Like you're trying to explain something from your because from your perspective it's wrong because you know all the benefits you have by having a balanced life or by having I don't know, more happiness in different areas, but it's just not true for everybody. It's
it's
just
not it's not the action so much as the mindset. Like that action is fine with the right mindset, but it's not fine with another mindset. Does that make sense? Does that sound fair?
I don't know. There was this one really cool thing. I have to tell you this. I don't know if I told you. It's a very old book, and I read it years ago. And there was this one guy who, how do you call that mental disability thing, where mentally disabled people.
Are you gonna say the name of the book, or you don't remember?
No, I don't remember the name, but what do you call that place where
Autistic?
people? No, people that can't live by their own and they are mentally disabled.
Uh,
It's not a school, but I
uh
don't know. Whatever. So basically, the doctor, you know,
Asylum? Are you thinking about like crazy?
silent. Yeah, yeah, like yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, I
asylum.
think they're called asylums or something.
Okay, so that doctor that works there, was like a big authority in that area, and so there was a woman, and she was getting a baby every single day. So her memory stopped at that moment where she lost her baby, and basically now she thinks that she gets her baby every single day. She wakes up every morning, she goes to the doctor, she's like, look, 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 I got my baby. And so that guy that interviewed this man said, okay, so if you could lay your hand on that person and heal that person, would you do it? And he said no. She has never been happier in her life. Like,
Yeah.
her husband was terrible. He terrorized her all her life. He drank all the time, beat her. She had a terrible life. She lost 2 children. Now she's happy every day. I've never seen her cry for the last 5 years. Why should I cure her?
Yeah. I've
You know,
I've read a similar story like that. I'm sure there's a lot of them.
yeah, and it's like it could be the best thing for that person. Like there's this guy, Lil Big Kahuna. I don't know if you heard about him. He plays 6 days a week, 8 hours a day, every single day for the last, I don't know, since I started play poker. And you know what he plays?
What?
180 mans. 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, every single fucking year. Every time I come to the games, he's sitting there.
I think I'd kill myself.
Yeah, and he makes like 150K a year, every single year, constantly. He lives in Lithuania. In Lithuania, people need 300 euros a month. And he makes 150K. So just think of it. He has to be super happy. He's like, I'm the boss, guys. And it's just his happiness factor, it's just happy with it. He would have stopped already. I mean, this guy made more than 500,000 for sure. He
Yeah.
needs to spend 300 a month. If this guy wanted to stop, he could stop and live forever in happiness. but he's still grinding.
Yeah. Huh. That would not work for me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't work for you. It doesn't work for me either. But maybe that person's happy. 7 days a week, no problem.
I don't have a
150 hours a week.
I don't have a problem with him doing that. I don't feel like that's short-term thinking at all. Um, the only clear example I could give of short-term thinking is like whenever you skip a workout because you feel like you don't have time, or whenever you uh, are too lazy to go like cook a good meal or something.
Totally agree. Yes, that's short-term thinking. Agree. Everything else is just depending on your situation.
Yeah. Um, okay. I need to refine these ideas. You kind of fucked them all up, which was good.
Yeah, because I'm right.
Yeah. I
I
don't.
don't know what the right answer is, but I know what the wrong one is.
I agree. I agreed with you on every example. I just you made me realize I didn't have a good definition of things.
Yeah, and I think, that has a lot to do with greatness or being great.
That's why you're so great.
No, no, like really, like for example, we both know what's wrong in a lot of cases. Okay, like you do know that it's not good to take like a cheat meal 7 days a week, for example. But really knowing what the right thing to do is, like the perfect thing in every situation, that's where greatness is, in my opinion. And it can be super simple, like really simple stuff, but really knowing the right answer is just wow. I would love to be there.
Yeah. This is complete tangent. Although we did talk about working out. What does your 6 week workout plan look like? Because I'm getting back into learning about fitness again. So I'm curious.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Well, how does it look like? Well, for now, I'm in the third week. Um, the first week was very basic stuff. It's like one workout every day, six days a week. Um, then it gets more intense, and now the fourth week is two workouts every day.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's cardio for 45 minutes. Get back home, take a breakfast. 1 hour later, go to the gym, and do the same workouts I did in the first week.
What's the cardio? What do you do?
I can do whatever I want, but usually I just do running
On a
because I
treadmill or do they have a track?
I mean, right now the problem is I have allergies. Like with the trees and all that shit, and so I cannot run outside. But once it gets better, I will run outside for 1 hour.
Yeah, my allergies been fucking me, man. I've been getting pretty bad headaches and just can't breathe. That's why I've been using that neti pot I told you
Oh,
about.
it's so good, dude! I bought it yesterday immediately. Amazing!
Yeah,
I never used that.
yeah, it's great.
So good. You saved my life there for sure.
Yeah, it's must during allergy season. It's weird. I've never had allergies my whole life until the past year or two.
Okay.
Yeah, it sucks. It's not fun. All right, so you do cardio. What kind of workouts do you do?
Well, it's basically it's a three split workout, and it's basically wait, let me see, I have it here. So it's chest and back, then it's legs and triceps, and then it's deltoids and biceps. And yeah, I do two exercises together without rest. And then after the second one is done, I do 1 minute rest, and then I repeat 6 times. So, for example, uh, barbell squats plus V-bar triceps extension. Okay, so I do triceps and squats. And I do 20 reps, 15, 12, 10, 5, 8, 16. And yeah, and then I go to the next exercise. And you just have no rest in between, just 1 minute max. So it's pretty tough.
Sounds hard.
Yeah, but it's amazing.
I've been I've been kind of interested in gymnastics training.
Yeah.
So I watched this Tim Ferriss video with George St. Pierre, how he trains, and
Such a sick guy.
yeah, and he does gymnastics training, and he's talking about how amazing it is for strength, and how people
Yeah.
think it's for, sissies or whatever,
And he's been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, he's saying that it's amazing, and then Tim Ferriss got really into it, and him being Tim Ferriss, he just goes and hires the men's Olympic gymnastics coach as his
Yeah.
coach,
Yeah.
because he's just the beast. And he has him on the podcast, and Tim Ferriss says he's been doing this for 3 weeks, and he hasn't felt better in years. Just the mobility, the strength, the core type of fundamental strength he's been gaining. Um, Seems really cool. Like I want to get into that, but
Yeah, it should be amazing, but it's tough because of all the movements that you don't usually use, right?
yeah. So this guy is going on there, and he's talking about these strength guys, and they just have no mobility or flexibility, and it leads to a lot of injuries. And the guys he coaches, they get pissed because they want to move fast, they want to go right to strength training, but he makes them do 7 months of just mobility stuff to build their core.
Nice, yeah. They're gonna be so pissed.
Yeah. He's talking about this one guy's like, he was like, oh, I'm 23, I don't have time for this shit. Gotta get to it. But he's an amazing coach. He's
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it would be interesting to build. What I really want is to build good core strength, long term, just feel good, and be in good shape, rather than a lot of muscle and looking ripped.
Let me ask you this. What would you say how your life would be and how you look and everything in your life if you would just do what any person that you admire, okay? You could choose one person and you admire that person, you think, he's the
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
If you would just do every single thing that person said about workouts, about eating, about investing, about everything,
Yeah.
how would your life be?
Is there any other answer than good? Or are you looking for something else?
Maybe amazing,
Yeah.
almost perfect, or at least 10 times better than now.
Yeah.
So the here's the thing. I do think you should get into it, and there's like no other answer than that. But the thing is, like, we just don't do it, right?
Yeah. So here's the thing with me. It doesn't take much for me to be content, Like
Yeah.
right now, I'm not making money. I have a blog, and I just write, and I enjoy writing, but I don't get to write nearly as much as I want to. I spend time with friends, and I work out sometimes. Like, I'm not doing anything special, but I'm content. I mean, I know things could be better, but I don't have that drive for like trying to make things as great as possible. I don't know if that's a problem or not. You know?
Well, I disagree. I think you do have the drive to make things as good as
Yeah.
they can be, but in the ones you really enjoy. Like, for example, reading or writing, or you order. No, how do you say that? Like you got some guys to fix your blog, to fix your site, and to help you with grammar on that, and you wouldn't do that if you wouldn't care. And so you are actually doing exactly that, but just the stuff that you are interested in.
Yeah. So
So
you,
I just
so your critique would be I should be doing more of the other shit, basically, and not so much the work stuff.
what? Say that again.
Your critique would be I should try and optimize like all the other things as well at the same time.
I don't know. I don't really have a critique in general. It's more like, like your eating should be okay, and your fitness should be okay, and everything else just depends on what you want to do. And I think you're on exactly the right way, the right path. So I don't
Yeah.
have any critique on anything that
I think
you
if you've
mentioned.
seen my diet, you would not be impressed. I think if you've seen my fitness, you would not be impressed. Like they're both just, barely acceptable standards.
And that's exactly what Tim Ferriss also says about himself. Like if you would watch a whole day of me, it's just totally standard stuff,
Yeah,
and it's just standard because you see it the way you see it. That's it.
yeah. No, I don't do enough. Although I think I'm gonna get into hiking a lot more. I went hiking yesterday for like 2 hours, and my whole
Nice.
body kind of felt sore afterwards, and it was just really fun. There's this hiking spot next to Boston where you climb all the way to the top and you get a view of like the skyline.
Hmm.
It was pretty cool. All right, I have to go.
Me too. But let me leave you one last thing.
No,
No?
bye.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Just really quick.
Yeah,
I always loved flowers. Okay, but I was never really good at with keeping them.
yeah,
And now I have three: a bonsai tree and two really cool bigger ones.
yeah. What
And
are the two cool big ones? Some into
I,
flowers as well.
I don't know the name,
You're
but
terrible.
basically I just bought them because they told me that it would, they are good for creating fresh air. Like get rid of CO2 and shit.
Huh.
Okay, so here's the thing. I never had an idea on how much water to give them, on how to treat them, how to really keep them alive, basically.
Yeah.
And I just thought, okay, there is this thing they give you once a week. You give like I don't know, whatever, half an ounce of water, whatever it is. And I was like, oh shit, I have to follow rules. I don't like that. So I asked my mother. I was like, look, what should I do? She's like, look, whenever you pass them, just take care of them. So just look at them, just feel, just see if they have enough water, if I was like, okay, cool. So that sounds easy.
You sing to them? You're supposed to sing to
I
them.
talk to them.
Okay.
I really do. And so here's the fun thing. Now they're living here for almost 5 months, 4 or 5 months.
Hmm.
They're green and healthy. There was not a single day where anything looked brown, and
I
they
find it
don't.
I find it fascinating that you talk about them like they're living things. I mean, which
Oh
they are. But
yeah, but look now. So what happens is every single day that I come in, I touch them. I just look if there's water. I clean them, so I take off the brown leaves,
yeah,
and they just look amazing all the time. And so the interesting thing that I learned from this, and why I'm telling you this, is that when you care about things, it just seems that things flourish.
it's just hard to care about so many things at
Yeah, and
once.
that's you just have to prioritize what you want to care about, and this is why I do think that if you want to go, keep that writing thing, just have the rest standard
Hmm.
and just care about that writing thing as much as possible.
Yeah. I mean,
It works
everything
itself.
affects my rating. I've been feeling like shit the past 2 weeks. I've been tired all the time,
Yeah.
and that affects my rating. A lot of times
Yeah.
I can't write because I'm just so exhausted. So maybe just chunking that all together, viewing everything as just, diet is for my writing, exercise is for my writing, getting outside is for my writing. You know,
Yeah, that makes sense.
just
For
chunking
sure.
it all together as one
Yeah.
big thing. All right, I
Okay,
have to
man.
go.
Yeah,
Peace.
thanks for the
You
talk.
you
Take
cool
care.
with throwing this up on podcast or?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
All right, great.